Good day and welcome to our religious education televised series. My name is Kemoa Richards Wright and I will be your facilitator for today. Our topic is on festivals and we will be paying close attention to one particular festival in the Jewish religion. This is the Passover festival. So, at the end of this lesson, there are a few things that you should be able to know as well as to complete for me, all right? So the first thing, these are our aims. One, you should be able to define the term festival, list 3 reasons why people celebrate festivals, understand what the Passover festival is and how it is celebrated in Judaism, as well as to construct a table outlining the items on the Seder plate and explain the significance of each. Finally, I want you to be able to show an appreciation for the beliefs and practices in Judaism. Okay, so we're going to jump right in it by looking on what do we mean when we speak of festivals. What does the term festival mean to you? Well, for most people, when they think of festivals, they think of celebrations. They think of partying, the music, the food, family. It's just a joyous occasion overall. In a sense, this is what a festival is. A religious festival can be defined as a day or a period of celebration, typically for religious reasons. So why do we celebrate festivals? 1, to celebrate the birth or death of a founder. 2, to mark the end of a fast or some other important religious occasion. 3, to mark an important event in the history of the religion. So we see that festivals are celebrated for different reasons within different religions. Our focus will move forward to the Passover festival. Now the Hebrew term for Passover is Pesach, and it is celebrated to remind Jews of their escape from Egyptian slavery over 3,000 years ago. It usually takes place during the spring, which is either March or April, and lasts for 7 days. Now, in order for us to truly understand why the Jews celebrate this festival, we need to take a look on the events from their past. The Jews, known as the Israelites, were enslaved in Egypt for over 400 years. They would cry out to God to be freed from their situations, and so God heard them and sent Moses to deliver them. At that time, Moses went to tell the Pharaoh to let God's people go, but Pharaoh laughed and he refused to let them go. In fact, he made their lives harder by giving them more work. So God decided he would harden Pharaoh's heart so as to punish him and show him who is God. The events that follow is what we now know as the 10 plagues. The first plague was turning all the water in the land into blood. Now imagine having a bucket of water turning into blood. The rivers, the cup that you're drinking from, all the water in the land turned into blood. Right? The Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go. So God sent a second plague. The second plague, frogs covered the land. Imagine frogs in your bed, in your bathroom, in your kitchen, your cupboard, everywhere they look. Frogs covered the land. Pharaoh refused. So God sent another plague. Lice was everywhere. I don't know how many of you know about lice, but lice is in the hair, the skin, the clothing, your bed. Lice covered the place. The fourth plague would be flies. Picture you're eating something and there is flies pitching on it. The flies they're in your hair, they're at your ears. The flies were just everywhere. Then the fifth plague, all their livestock died. They woke up one morning and all of their livestock were gone. right? And even after this, the Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go. Now there came a sixth plague. The boils and sores covered their bodies, right? Then there was a seventh plague. Hailstones fell from the skies. Hailstones are something like ice. Can you imagine ice falling from the sky and you're outside and it is hitting you? So this is what happened to the Egyptians, and they still refused to let God's people go. Then we had the eighth plague, locust. Locust destroyed all the crops that they planted. Now we're at the point where things are getting a bit serious. We're at the ninth plague, where the entire land was covered in darkness for 3 days. They couldn't light fires, nothing whatsoever, just darkness for 3 days. So during the ninth plague, when there was darkness, God commanded his people to slaughter an animal. They should take the blood from this animal and mark it over the doorpost of their homes. When the angel of death will pass, it will pass over them because it will recognize them as the children of God. And that is exactly what they did. Now we move to the 10th plague, where all the firstborn males in the Egyptian household died. And this plague led to the exodus of the Egyptians from slavery. This here is the very reason why Passover is celebrated in Judaism. I hope you just followed that story coming down to understand why they actually celebrate this festival. Imagine they were enslaved for over 400 years. God heard their cries, sent a number of plagues so that the Egyptians would release them. So this plague, killing all the firstborn children for the Egyptians, well, not all the children, the males, allowed them to be free. How is Passover celebrated? First, they clean their homes, remove all yeast, the raising agents, and any other utensil that they had used throughout the year. The family gathers around the table, and the story is told of their days in slavery, and they share a meal which reminds them of these days. This is the most sacred and important aspect of the festival, the Seder meal. Several items are placed on the table to remind them of the various events during the days of slavery. 1. Unleavened bread. This is bread made without yeast, as they were in a hurry so they could get the chance for the bread to raise. Second, there is green vegetable to remind them that Passover is a spring festival. Third, there is roasted egg, reminders of the festival sacrifice brought to them in the temple in Jerusalem. 4, there is a lamb bone, which is also used to remind them of the Passover lamb that was brought to the temple as a sacrifice. 5th, there is a mixture of chopped apples, nuts, and cinnamon and wine called haroset, which symbolizes the mortar made by the Israelites in order to construct buildings in slavery. And finally, there is salt water. This represents the tears of the Israelites during the days of slavery. So, we're almost at the end of our lesson for today. I hope you have been following and you have made notes of all the items that are placed on the Seder plate, because now I'm going to ask you to construct a table for me showing the items on the Seder plate as well as to explain their significance. Alright, so here we go. We find that there are 7 items on the plate, and now I'm going to list them for you, and what you're going to do for me is to write the significance on the other side of the table. So the first item is roasted egg. What is the significance of this? Second, we have a lamb bone. I want you to go ahead and you're going to write for me, why is this used, or what is the significance of this on the Seder plate. Then we're going to look on celery, lettuce, bitter herbs, haroset, and the glass of salt water. So those items, I want you to make a list on a table, and you're going to tell me the significance of each. Now, we are going to test your knowledge. What did you learn from this lesson today? My first question to you is, what does the Jewish Passover festival commemorate? Is it A, the giving of the 10 commandments, B, the creation of the world, C, the end of slavery in Egypt, or D, the destruction of the temple? So the answer is the end of slavery in Egypt. Number 2, who am I? I went to Pharaoh to tell him to let God's people go. Is it A, Abraham, B, Moses, C, Noah, D, Jonah? The answer is Moses. Number 3, what am I? I represent the tears of the Israelites during slavery. Is it roasted egg A, B, salt water, C, lamb bone, D, parsley? And the answer is salt water. Number 4, what am I? I am removed from all Jewish homes during the Passover festival. Is it A, food, B, peace, C, alcohol, D, soda? And the answer is B, yeast. And number 5, which plague am I? I caused the Pharaoh to release the Israelites. Am I the third plague, A, B, fifth, C, 8, D, 10? And the response is, I am the 10th plague. And we have come to the end of our lesson today. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.